If I've seen further, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants, right? And to
Right.
me, that quote is like the essence of mentorship. I wouldn't be here without you, period.
Check it out.
Let's get started.
All right, let's do it.
Why is it important for students and faculty to actively seek out mentorship opportunities?
So that's easy, right? Your education and academic experience should not be limited to the classroom. And of course, the classroom is important, right? And what you learn there is important. But at least in my experience, the relationships that you make with people, that's what makes you who you are. That's how you grow. And that's what you really learn.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The way that I envision or vision, the trajectory in terms of learning information and then applying it is really through a mentorship relationship. So you take all these core courses, neurobiology courses, if we're talking about neuroscience, but then how do you implement those?
Right.
Having a mentor that's going to walk you through those things and show you how you get from A to B to C, and how you get to publish results in the scientific using the scientific method, things like that are really important. And that's why I think the relationship is very important, because if you don't have that, then you have all this information that you learn in courses, but it's a little harder to implement than when you go out in the
Right.
real world, right?
Absolutely.
What's the most impressive research or work the person sitting across from you has done? Wow, that's a great question.
Our most recent paper, and that's both of us. This work is definitely, I mean, it's got to be the coolest, right?
Yeah. The paper that we just published is my highest, impact factor paper that I published in my career, right? So I definitely think it's an area of research that we want to, continue to pursue. I mean, neuroscience is very diverse and, requires, understandings of genetics, proteomics, pathology, the brain, et cetera. And one of the things that I'm really proud about is that you've really done a great job at being able to really implement all these different levels of analysis in your research.
With a disease that is as complex as Alzheimer's disease, right? Where I like to describe it as like this web of strings, and when you pull one string, all the other kind of fall too, right? So it's such a complex disease that it requires, like you said, right? These different multi-dimensional approaches to really solve it.
And our goal is to get to the end of that thread.
Yeah, absolutely. We will.
All right,
let's
go on to the next question.
What is this mentor-mentee relationship given you that you didn't expect?
Well, it's definitely given me a friend, right? I mean, someone that I feel that honestly I'll know for, my whole life.
I see you, of course, as a boss and a mentor, but more than either of those, a close friend.
For me, I think one thing that's, that I've learned is that, I really can actually get information and go to you when I have questions, right? As a faculty member, I think, it's important for those that haven't mentored to really try to mentor, because once you mentor your first student and you really see them grow and succeed and go out there and become, future leaders, it's almost like an addiction. You want to be able to do that for other students. That is a reward. That is the incentive there.
And I think from a mentee's perspective, right, it's the same thing, the same type of like addiction, if you will, but more in the sense that you realize that there's these people in your life that have no real reason to invest in you, that have for some reason for 7 years. And, it's not a bad pressure, but it's a good pressure that it puts on you to say, well, I have reason to succeed far beyond myself, right? It's to make the people who have invested in me proud.
The experience that the student has when they go on to their next venture, they will take that with them. Absolutely. And if they have a good, mentor-mentee relationship, they will implement that if they do go into, a field where they have to actually mentor other individuals, which they likely will. So I think, as I mentioned, I think that's generational, and that's why I think it's very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right, next one.
If you were never going to see this person sitting across from you again, what's the one thing you would want them to know?
Oof. I would first say thank you. I wouldn't be here without you, period. So yeah, I mean, thank you is the biggest thing. But then I would just ask that you keep doing it, that you keep doing, what you've done for me, because you've made such an impact on my life that I would, it would be a shame for that to just be limited to me. One of the biggest problems in academia is that people, these researchers are not incentivized sometimes even to mentor students, but there is no, sometimes they don't get credit for it. And I think, it's so antithetical to the whole point of science, right? Science is not you can't come in as a scientist and cure the world of all diseases and solve every question. Science is it's a team game, right? Everyone works together, and you see, of course, there's competition, but you really do. You stand on the shoulders of giants. It's working with people. It's working and building on top of what other people have done, and the best way to do that is to have that transgenerational effect, right? To go and work with someone who's younger than you, or work with someone who's older than you, learn from their experiences, and then spend your career building on those.
Yeah, it's being on the shoulders of a giant, but now you're the giant as well, and we're both giants, and now we're gonna be in this fight together.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I thank you very much. You have allowed me to learn what I need to do for the students that are in my lab and will be in my lab in the future. And I promise you, I will continue to mentor. I mean, that's my passion. That's what I like to do. That's what I look for.
Yeah, I'm glad that question's a hypothetical. I'm not ready to leave yet. That's why I'm doing my master's. I told him, I was like, hey, I got one more year. I got to say.